Hi, Dan.
Good evening, Joe and everyone.
Uh, Good evening, buddy. Good to see you here. Thanks for coming.
Surely.
Okay, well let's get started. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Hopefully a few more people will come as we begin here, but I don't want to waste too much time or keep people too long. So up on the screen, you see one of our public servants, and she's taking the oath. When they take the office, the seat of the office, they have to take the oath. So, does anybody know what oath that she is taking and who is on the screen? Who is this? What public servant? How does she serve us? And what oath is she raising her right hand to?
She's Allegheny County, but I can't remember her title.
Yeah, Allegheny County, Sarah Inamorata.
Enamorado.
Inamorado. And is she chief executive?
I can't remember what her title is, to be honest, but
Well, she's the chief of whatever it is, executive something, right?
He's a county executive.
County executive. Okay, she's the chief. She is the highest seat in the executive office for the county of Allegheny. Right. So when they enter the office, they take an oath. And to which constitution are they taking an oath to?
Pennsylvania. Well,
Pennsylvania Constitution, correct. Not the United States Constitution, the Pennsylvania Constitution. So a lot of people don't realize that we have a constitution, and many of our public servants they bypass that. They'll go through this procedure of swearing an oath to it, and then once they get into office, they kind of continue with whatever their agenda is, and they never speak the oath again the time they're in there. So I just wanted people to show, because this was recent. This is when she just went in to take the seat for the county executive. So she's swearing to the Pennsylvania Constitution. One more question before I switch the screen. Who is subject to the Pennsylvania Constitution? Can anybody else answer that besides Deb? Who is subject to the Pennsylvania Constitution?
Any public servant?
Any public servant. We are not subject to the Constitution. We created the Constitution. Nobody here ever swore an oath to the Constitution, nor did we sign our name on anything that has to do with the Pennsylvania Constitution. They, our public servants who are swearing to it, are the ones subject to the Constitution. So I think it's very important that we clarify that. So if let's take a look at Pennsylvania's Constitution. This is what's called the Declaration of Rights. If I scroll through here, you can see this is Article 1, and then the section goes all the way up to 29. So there's 29 rights here. Okay, these are your private rights, your inherent rights. They're inviolate, and they can never be taken away from you. They can never be amended. The Declaration of Rights that Sarah Inamorado is swearing to uphold and protect is what I'm showing you right now. So if we go through the section, here's your inherent rights. all political power is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted. You can read the rest of that. We go all the way down to a couple other things. And today our topic is right to bear arms. So if we go down to 21, we're going to see right to bear arms. The right of the citizens to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state shall not be questioned. Right to bear arms in the Constitution, that our public servants are to protect and uphold the Constitution that they're swearing to. Another important searches and seizures is another one. Without oath or affirmation or affiant, they cannot search or seize your property. That's private. Your liberty is safe. Trial by jury, right here. This is one we're going to touch on a little bit. The trial by jury shall be as heretofore, and the right thereof remain inviolate. Inviolate, never taken away. The General Assembly may provide, however, by law that a verdict may be rendered by not less than 5/6 of the jury in a civil case. Trial by jury is 12. There's 12 in a trial by jury. In a trial by jury, there's an affiant swearing against you. If there's not an affiant swearing under penalty of perjury, and you also swearing under penalty of perjury and bringing your evidence against their evidence in whatever the claim is, you're not in a trial by jury. You're in something other than that, administrative. So a trial by jury, and then we also have a jury trial. And there is a difference, and it's important to point that out. So we will go to that so that you see. Actually, before we do that, just keep in mind there's a difference between a trial by jury and a jury trial. Now that we're still on Miss Inamorado here, I hope I'm saying that kind of close. But now that we're still looking at her, let's look at her first executive order that she wrote when she went into office. Blow this up, maybe. Cannot see how to blow that up. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, let me do this. It's not going to help us. Okay, so what's in this? This happens to be with protecting abortion clinics from anybody coming in. This was her first executive order that she wrote. And I don't want to get into the abortion part of this right now, but I want you to explain what her role is and what she does and what she has the ability to do in the office with an executive order, okay, in the county of Allegheny. Now, an executive order is not law. It's the executive branch passing something. It's not the law, and it can never take away the rights that you have in the Declaration of Rights of the Pennsylvania Constitution, or if you're from Georgia, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Rights and the Bill of Rights, they're inviolate and they can't touch them. So any of the executive orders that they enforce cannot go against your rights. So if we go to the rights are also called common rights. We're in a common law system, and they're the common rights common to you and me. So an executive order. Let's just look up the definition of that. Scroll down through here. Just so we understand an executive order. Just be patient with me. I'm still getting familiar with this. Here we go, right here. So I'm going to click on that. Everybody see that? Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. The executive order, it's a role or order issued by the president to an executive branch, which is Sarah, of the government, and having the force of law. The force of law is not the law. Does that make sense to anybody? The force of law means it's kind of like law, but if this were saying it's law, the rule or order issued by the president to an executive branch makes the law. Okay? It's the force of law, meaning it's law if it's not challenged. It's the force of law unless you can challenge it against something greater than the law that they're perceiving. Okay? So just so you understand that the force of law through the executive order is not a law that they can enforce to the private rights of the people in Pennsylvania. It can be challenged, and it can be challenged. We'd have to challenge it through a trial by jury. So now I'm going to explain the difference. You can challenge it through a trial by jury, but also what you would do was send notice to something that they're going against your rights. You always want to set up your court outside of the court with a notice. And that's what we're going to show you today with the right to bear arms. And with the notice that you send them, you're challenging them to go against what you're saying using the Constitution, and they can't challenge it because they're swearing an oath to it like we showed you earlier. So you always want to challenge your public servants if they're going against your rights or they're impeding on something that goes against what they're swearing to in the Constitution. Let me check the chats here. Yes, very good, Dan. It is equivalent to law passed by the legislature. Super job, buddy. I'm glad I saw this. He is very, very, very correct. It's a law passed by the legislature, meaning it's a statutory. It's not judicial. So I'm glad that you said that, Dan. Very, very, very awesome of you to say that, buddy. So now we'll go to we're going to go to looking at what a jury trial is. This is straight from the website of the DA. Here is a jury trial, people, and here's the difference. I'll go through some of the steps here. This is straight off of Allegheny County DA website, proving that a jury trial is different than a trial by jury. A crime is committed. The police are notified. The police investigate. The police file a complaint. A complaint is different than a claim. Folks, we the people don't complain. We claim. If someone is doing something against us, it's a claim that we file. We do not file a complaint. A claim is sworn under penalty of perjury. A complaint is just complaining. It's not official. Therefore, you're going to a jury trial. You're going to a magistrate. You're going not to a judicial setting with a trial by jury, claim against claim, people swearing under penalty of perjury something against you or you against somebody else. So we don't complain. We take it down a little bit further. This is the order of the steps, okay? Even if they have a jury trial, there can still be 12. But the difference here again is in a jury trial, look at this. The judge, assistant district attorneys, defense attorney, all of them are involved in the process. There's a lot of moving parts. A lot of people have their feelers in it. And the judge, I looked in here a little earlier and I saw it. It's maybe at the end. The judge gives the jury detailed legal instructions about the charged crimes. The judge is giving instruction, influencing in a real trial by jury. The jury is above the judge. Okay? The jury rules the courtroom. It's the highest in the courtroom, and a judge in a trial by jury is just a referee to make sure everything runs smoothly. So now you see the difference between what a trial by jury is and a jury trial, right? Okay, a couple recent cases that I just want to you guys to look at here, and you can do the research on your own, but this is the direction that we're going, and a lot of people, many people are starting to learn it. Not you people are fortunate because you're here in a group where I'm teaching it, but a lot of people are still so focused on the presidency, they're not really seeing what's happening in the courts and how the courts are flipping because they know people like us now are learning the law. So these are four cases, recent cases within the last 3-4 years. A couple of them have to do with bearing arms, guns. A couple of them are talking about how the administrative state and attorneys are really suppressing the people, and they're taking advantage of us and not allowing us to stand on our rights. And part of that is our fault because we don't know our rights. But the people in this group, it's a little different. We're starting to understand the constitutions. The state constitution is higher than the United States Constitution. We use the constitutions. So we have Loper, Bright Enterprises versus Raimondo. And guys, I'll have a recording of this so you can go back and get some of the information that, because I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you. The New York State Rifle and Pistol Association against Bruin. That's a very good case from 2021 or 2022. Range case is another gun case. These guys won their cases, the Supreme Court, in favor of the right to bear arms. So the right to bear arms is a real thing, and a right to bear arms is not statutory. It's not having to get a carrying permit. SEC versus Jerkarsi. That is another big case where Justice Neil Gorsuch really hammers attorneys. I can get you guys some of the transcripts from these cases, but I want you guys to go out and research a little bit. Start to take the time out of your day, and seeing these cases will build your confidence in knowing that the direction that the few strong people are really pushing our court systems, starting at the Supreme Court, and we're going to put the pressure all the way down to the Pennsylvania courts as well. And this is how we're going to take our country back. It's not through a presidency. We don't want to get distracted by that. Moving on, and this is about being proactive. We don't want to fight when we're already on our heels. A lot of times with the government, we're getting heat from the government in various aspects of our life, and then what do we do? We're being proactive, and we're showing them things that they can't go against because they all swore to it. So the more proactive we are, the better off the whole country is going to be. And that's why we're going to go over this notice for the right to bear arms. It's very important that let me let somebody in here. We start to enforce this stuff and use the law, and you don't need an attorney to do it. And that's the greatest thing about it. It's really not costing us a ton of money other than certified mailings and like me with my time bringing you people in, which I'm so appreciative of, to help me do this stuff. And I'm just glad that I have ears here to hear me, and we can work as a unit to make everybody's life better. So going on to what a notice is. A notice is something that shows fact. Okay. So let's look up notice. Let's look up the definition of notice. I may have somebody read it. Let me go down and put it up on the screen here. Okay. Can somebody read that top portion? Just the top portion, not the whole thing.
It's really tiny. Notice right there.
Yeah, right at the black, the bold, right next to that, up the top.
Information, the result of observation, whether by the senses or the mind, knowledge of the existence of a fact or state of affairs, the means of knowledge. Abercrombie versus Virginia Carolina Chemical Company.
That's
you don't
good.
need to read all
Yeah,
that.
I don't need, no, we don't need that. And then I'll read at the bottom. Actual notice has been defined as notice expressly and actually given. Okay, you're giving facts. You're stating facts. You're setting up a claim. And for you guys that were with us in the first couple of these Zoom meetings, we talked about the difference between public and private. We can be out in the public and still be in our private capacity, right to bear arms. Okay. You can go to a public grocery store and still be in your private capacity, determining whether you want to wear a mask or you don't want to wear a mask. We also have, we're talking about status and standing. What is our status? The people here, can somebody say, what is the status that we should always use to stand on? It's in the Constitution. Hint, hint. It's one of the first parts in the preamble. Anybody? Somebody other than Deb? Let me see the chat here. Okay, Danny said our citizenship. We can be citizens, individual. They're both kind of, sort of, but not really. We're one of the people. We stand as one of the people. Okay, we have individual rights. One of the people, we can be citizens at certain times if we decide to, part of the group, but we are one of the people. So whenever we send notice, we stand on that. Our status as one of the people is our standing, and that creates our jurisdiction, right? If we don't say one of the people, they can take us into an administrative, legislative, tribunal jurisdiction. So in order to go trial by jury, in order to be judicial, we need to stand as one of the people. Status and standing create the jurisdiction. So when we send notice, we always come as one of the people, right? Okay. Another thing we use in our notice, the Constitution, absolutely. We call them out on the Constitution, what they swore to. But there's another thing that we also use, okay? Does anybody know from the last 2 Zoom meetings what that is? I'd be impressed if somebody if somebody says it, but at the same time, let's see who was listening. Does anybody know what that other thing we can use? Their laws that the courts, that all of the courts understand, as long as they relate to your particular issues in your case, you can use them. They're inarguable. They've been around for centuries. They're tried and true. Let's see if anybody has that. Oh, baby. Jamie. All right. Gold star for Jamie. I will bring it up now. It is the maxims of law. Okay. I did send this out to you in an email, one of our initial meetings. Everybody got that. If you don't have it, I'll send it to you in a PDF file. The maxims of law, and I'm going to read this. In law, as with any science, there exists certain fundamental principles. If you go back to our Pennsylvania Constitution in the Declaration of Rights, these exact words, a frequent recurrence to the fundamental principles are what we are to do to teach constantly to our public servants, to remind them of the fundamental principles of law. That's the maxims of law, and it has to be frequently done. And we're in the boat that we are now because we have not done that and we haven't known these. So your maxims of law, which form its basis, into which reference must be frequently made in its application. These fundamental principles in law are referred to as maxims of law. Sir William Blackstone, he is an English authority in the law, and they're somewhat like axioms in geometry. These maxims, okay, are so critical for you to know. They're easy to apply and they're irrefutable as long as you match them to a particular part of your case or your issue. So there's 1,600 of these maxims broken into trusts, different kinds of property, land, all of those things. Get familiar with the maxims of law. Guys, email me or text me if you need me to send that to you again. So when we build our notice today, we're going to insert some maxims of law into it. We're going to insert the Constitution. We're going to put a price tag on the notice, and we're going to ask them to rebut what we're expressing in the notice that we are sending. So I think we can, we're going to get ready to put this notice together. But I sent out a little blog page, the other day with the right to bear arms, with the bears at the top. And, you know, we granted the police authority to bear arms. So we created the Constitution. We created these public seats. They take an oath to it. We allow certain people like the police to bear arms. So if they can bear arms, why can't we, the grantor, also bear arms without applying for a carrying permit? There's got to be another way to do it, right? A lawful way, using our pen game. So we're going to get smart, and we're going to use the knowledge in the law, the maxims, and we're going to counter any type of statutory provision that they're trying to place upon us. So let's look at the definition of police. We want to see what the role of the police are. Can you see that? Can we see police power, people?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so the police power, as authority conferred by the American constitutional system. This is talking about the U.S. Constitution and the 10th Amendment. U.S. Constitution, upon the individual states and in turn delegated to local governments, through which they are enabled to establish a special department of police, adopt such laws and regulations as tend to prevent the commission of fraud and crime and secure generally the comfort, safety, morals, health, and prosperity of its citizens. This is it, by preserving the public order, public and private, preventing a conflict of rights in the common intercourse of the citizens, which is the public. We live in a republic, and ensuring to each an uninterrupted enjoyment of all of the privileges conferred upon him or her by the general laws. The general laws are the Constitution. Special laws are statutory. The power of the state to place restraints on the personal freedom and property rights of persons for the protection of the public safety, health, and morals. They are only to deal with the public safety. The public power is subject to limitations of the federal and state constitutions. The state is higher, okay? The state, and especially to the requirement of due process, one of our favorite words. Police power is the exercise of the sovereign right of a government to promote order, safety, health, morals, and general welfare within constitutional limits. Okay? They're within constitutional limits. Public, the police are to deal with the public, right? I wonder if I can X this out. Okay, so now we're going to move on. Now we're going to start to get into what we're going to send to the public servants. And a new share. Let's go to the statutory. We're going to go to Title 18, which is how they control your. Can you see this, people?
It's really hard because it's so light, but yes.
Okay, we can see it. Can you see my pointer?
Yes.
Okay, so this is Title 18. And this is the firearms not to be carried without a license. So this is where they're getting you with a license. Okay. If I read this, I can probably see it better than everyone else. So this is Title 18, subsection 6106. Part 1. Anybody have any questions so far? We're good? Okay. So, except as provided in paragraph 2, any person, when I stress that, I want you to really remember that word I'm stressing. Any person who carries a firearm in any vehicle, or any person who carries a firearm concealed on or about his person, except in his place of abode or fixed place of business, without a valid and lawfully issued license under this chapter, commits a felony of the 3rd degree. So this is statutory language in what a person is. A person who is otherwise eligible to possess a valid license under this chapter, but carries a firearm in any vehicle, or any person who carries a firearm concealed on or about his person, except in his place of abode, fixed, and so on and so forth. Okay, so they're calling a person. It's not one of the people, and they intentionally do this because they can't go against your rights. So they created a statutory entity, a statutory creature called a person. Okay, so this is Title 18, and this is all of it. And then you go down to exceptions, except if you're a constable, sheriff, prison, or jail warden. So they're giving them statutory permission to bear arms through the legislature, which is okay because these people are public servants. They're the ones that you can apply. They can only apply legislative authority and statutes to who they control. So the legislature can only give government statutory provisions, not the people. And that's why a person gets a carrying permit, not one of the people. So when we send our notice, we certainly don't put, I'm a person. Okay? Does that make sense to people? So that's the Title 18. So I want to just show you guys a couple definitions. Is that clear with people? Okay? Just give me a yes. Hello? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, other people can hear me too?
Yes, we can hear and see it.
Okay, good. Okay, good. All right, let's go to, now let's look at person. We'll share this. It's up on the screen. That should be pretty big. Is it big, guys?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. I highlighted it here. Okay, can somebody read that? Anybody read person? Definition?
Includes a government unit or an agency of the federal government.
Okay, includes. Now we know in statutory construction, including excludes everything else. So a person, this is the definition. This is in the Pennsylvania statutes, right up here where I'm scanning across here. A person in their definitions includes a government unit or an agency of the federal government. So that's telling you that they're controlling you as a government unit. We need to separate from that. Okay? That's statutory. They're not saying includes one of the people. Do you see how slick they are? So I have another definition that I want you to look at of person. Let me find it here. Okay. This is also in the Title I of the PA Code. This is all of their definitions. Because I'm looking through everything and I'm trying to find out what the heck a person is. Okay? A person includes a corporation, partnership, limited liability company, business trust, other association, government entity other than the Commonwealth, estate, trust, foundation, or natural person. Natural person is last on this list. Did anybody know that a person could be all of these things? In statutory construction, that's how they control you. So now I'm looking and thinking, what the heck, natural person? What is a natural person? So I've got to go back and look and see, try to find what the heck a natural person is. Okay, so I'm trying to scroll through all of their definitions and look for person. I'm going in order. Go down to the ends. Right here. All of these. I don't see natural person anywhere. So I decided to go up to see what individual, because they use individual as a statutory term in their provisions too. So if I go to individual, it says a natural person. We still don't know what a natural person is because they haven't defined that. So if you go to individual, it says a natural person, right? If I go to person, it gives you all kinds of other language. We don't know, but what we do know now is a person is not one of the people. Okay, you guys can go back and look at this and research this. just be very careful and look at definitions whenever you are trying to study the law and look through all of the statutes. When you're trying to figure things out, words and definitions matter. Okay, so let me see if I can click this out. All right, so we're back. Let's finally go to our right to bear arms. Okay. Oh, one more thing I want to show you guys, because on the with the IRS deal, when we were looking at the federal, we were looking at the definition of a state. So I found this in the Pennsylvania code. Wait. New share. Everybody see the definition of state? State, when used in reference to different parts of the United States, includes the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and territories and possessions of the United States. In nowhere does it say Pennsylvania. Their definition of state is different than what we believe the definition of state is, even in the state of Pennsylvania, through their statutory construction. So I hope we're learning, we're starting to learn and develop some skills here on how to search things, how to separate your rights from statutes, and navigate in the proper way through the law, which not many other people will show you this kind of stuff. But this is going to make us the best in the law and the best we can be, and bring this country back to the best. All right, so now our notice. Any questions so far? While I'm digging this up, guys. Anything? We're good? Everybody's good? Let me look at the chat here. Okay. A goose chase. Yeah, absolutely. Danny, I love you, buddy. It's a goose chase. They take you on a goose chase, and we're getting so intelligent now in knowing the law that they're not going to be able to stop what's coming. So, right to bear arms. Let's share this up on the screen. Here we go. So this is our notice. Okay, I'll probably tweak a few things in this, but this is a pretty good general idea for you guys to understand how to present this to your public servants. If you're in Georgia, if you're in another state, you would apply things, they would match. You would go to find in your Constitution where it's similar language to what we are expressing in our notice here. So we started off with the title, Pennsylvania Notice of the People's Right to Keep and Bear Arms Without Permission. We're letting them know right off the bat, we do not need permission to bear arms. Okay? So that's the strong title we want to put on the notice. The next part, here's who we address it to. The more hands we can get dirty touching this through broad diffusion of knowledge, the stronger our case is. So we want to include the people that really matter in this, so that all of their hands touch it, and we wait to see if they can rebut it, and they cannot. I'm so confident because I've been doing this for over 3 years now, and they can't rebut it. So don't, if you send this, oh no, what is going to happen? Am I going to go to jail? You're standing on your rights, what they swore to. They would be in more trouble if they tried to, try to enforce some stupid statute on you after you've already claimed, not complained, claimed in a notice. The following individuals. This is Pennsylvania. We have the governor, Josh Shapiro, Attorney General, Michelle Henry, Senate Majority Leader Joe Pittman, House Republican. So these are the legislatures. You have to hammer the legislatures. They're the ones that are creating these stupid laws and enforcing them. Okay, with attorneys in front of them. Representative Stephanie Lee Shalaba. I see her signs everywhere. Shalaba. Senator Elder Vogel, and then the sheriff of your county. Or if you're going to on Thanksgiving to New York, you send it to the county sheriff of the place you're going to in New York, and you're proactive and you're going to send this. So if you're carrying your gun from Pennsylvania to New York, you're sending this proactively ahead of time to all of the people that you would need to, so that you can carry your gun across the lines and you have notice, you have documentation. You don't wait to get caught when you're on your heels to perform this stuff, okay? So now we're coming down to the notice, and there's our title again. And this is important. Do people know what notice to agent is notice to principal, and notice to principal is notice to agent is?
No.
We put this on every top of every single notice, which means there's an agent and then there's a principal. If you're sending it to the principal and an agent picks it up, it's as if the principal got it. So they all have agents. They have someone that picks up their mail. They have, certain people that might read their mail or help them in their office. The agent and the principal are the same. So you're making them aware that if the agent touches it, then it's just as if the principal touched it as well. I, Joseph Dennis Devosovic Jr., there's my status and standing. One of the people, as seen Article 1, Section 2 of the Pennsylvania Constitution. Sui juris means by right. It's Latin term for by right. I have no legal handicaps. I can handle my own law affairs, and I can stand up by right if I need to in a court of law, in a judicial setting, in a trial by jury. And I am serving you with this notice that you and your agents may provide due care as the trustees and servants of the people. Please take notice that all power is vested in and derived from the people. Therefore, the people have the right at all times to reform, alter, and modify their form of government. I'm letting them know who the boss is here, what they swore to, and that we have the right to alter, reform, and abolish at any time we choose to keep our government if they get out of line. Okay? The main object of government is the protection and preservation of our individual rights. What Jamie said earlier, individual rights. She was correct. Ensuring our public liberties, protecting our property, and upholding the law of God. And reminding them that as the trustees and servants, it is the people's right to have full control over public servants. Okay? We can go down. If anybody jump in, if you have any questions. And we add the political power, that all power being originally inherent in and consequently derived from us, the people. We aren't a person. You never say you're a person. We're one of the people. We're not statutory entities. Okay? Reading through this, whether we created all of these offices, legislative, executive, we created the judicial. We are the authority. We are the sovereigns. And in those court cases, Justice Gorsuch, some of them, he mentions the people as the sovereigns. So don't ever let anyone tell you, you're a sovereign citizen. That is a compliment. They're calling you a sovereign citizen because you know the law, and that person calling you a sovereign citizen is threatened by you because you can stand on your own rights in the Constitution. Maxims of law. Okay, this is an example for you. They apply to what we are expressing here. The main object of government is the protection and preservation of the personal rights, private property, public liberties, and upholding the law of God. That's an American maxim. Irrefutable, people. Judges will look at this like, whoa, okay? Irrefutable. These stand the test of time. Judges know the law, and now you're bringing the law to them, and it confirms things that they've known and studied, not attorneys. Okay, maxim of law. As usurpation is the exercise of power which another has a right to, so tyranny is the exercise of power beyond the right which nobody can have a right to. Okay? You have a right. No one can take that power away from you. We own this place. All right. And that's John Locke, another very good reading, Two Treatises of Government. That is another, he's a forefather of law, the laws of the nations. And he's another very good read. And John Locke is one of the maxims, very important, putting that maxim in there via John Locke. Okay, some of this is you aren't going to understand. It's going to be foreign to you, but I want you guys to be your own law enforcers and learn this stuff. Okay, the more you know, the more confidence you'll build, the more you'll understand, and the quicker we will bring this country back. Another, please take notice that is my absolute guaranteed right as the people to assemble. We are assembling tonight, right? Together to consult for the common good and to provide our trustees and servants with the frequent recurrence to the fundamental principles of law. These things, the maxims of law, to ensure our rights and to maintain a free government. As a trustee, servant, and agent of the people, you are bound by oath to all provisions as expressly declared in the Pennsylvania Constitution, as they are mandatory and strictly obligatory upon all. We're addressing everything right to the point. Then the Pennsylvania Constitution, Article 1, Section 16, that the people have a right to assemble together to consult. This is all of the evidence that we're putting in. So we not only make statements, we see evidence below and we put the evidence. This is a court case outside of court. Okay, this is how we bring our evidence in if we ever have an issue. So we're not some dumb, stupid people. Okay, we're backing everything we're saying, and then at the end, you'll see we're asking them to refute it, to rebut it. Okay, the Constitution, Article 2, Section 10. Now we remind them we have proof of the oath of affirmation. All right, you can read that on your own later. Another maxim of law, frequent recurrence to the fundamental principles. We're constantly hammering and reminding them of this. Okay, we want them to be so worn down by the law that we're giving them and the truth and the facts. Okay, we're standing on it. The maxim of law 84, punishment is due if the words of an oath be false. So we throw a couple more maxims in there. Please take notice that the Pennsylvania legislature has no authority to require permits or registration for the purchasing and possessing of weapons that the people deem necessary to provide for their own defense. All right, we're just throwing everything at them, the kitchen sink. All right, and we're doing it lawfully, and we're doing it kindly. We're not jerks about this. Okay, we're stern. We're reminding them, but we're not idiots. We're upstanding Americans, right? Okay, and then more maxims of law here. You guys can read this later. But all of these things are maxims. They're tried and true. We have a right to bear arms. You have a right in your private capacity, even when you're in public, to bear arms. Miranda versus Arizona. This is a monumental case. Always put this in your notices. Where rights are secured by the Constitution are involved, there can be no rulemaking or legislation which would abrogate them. Okay, please take notice that the people have assembled and consulted for the common good and have taken joy in the work of the U.S. Supreme Court. I'm reminding them of the recent cases and the language that the Supreme Court is coming out and saying in these recent cases. That's why I'm encouraging you to read these cases. If you read them, your confidence will be so high. And because we have put so much pressure on the Supreme Court that they're flipping. They are flipping strong right now. And most of the country doesn't even realize it. We're worried about Donald Trump and Kamala Harris and who the heck the president is going to be. This is where we make change. All right? This is how we're going to need to spend our energy. Okay? The Supreme Court to affirm historical and common rights as derivative of the common law and not according to the pretended legislation of the public servants who wish to declare rights that are guaranteed in the state and federal constitution as objects that can be discarded once they have taken office. Did I just say that earlier? They swear and then they discard it once they get in. Sarah Inamorado or whatever. Okay? We need to hold them to these things, not swear and I'm the boss now. Okay? Please see the text and you can read this. Oh, this is another case that you guys should look at too. I give you 5 cases to look at. Okay? He's hammering the administrative state and these attorneys that have been suppressing us all of these years. And part of it's our fault. We weren't educated and we didn't learn this in the public school systems. And there was an intentional reason for that. But those days are done. Okay? Firearms, talking about firearms and your right to bear arms. I get fired up. I'm not mad. I just get fired up. Okay? Please take notice as one of the people I realize that any actions taken within lawful authority courts of record, when a trial by jury, if you're not in a court of record with an independent judge, a referee, with 12 jurors running that courtroom, with you swearing under penalty of perjury against somebody, not an entity, not the IRS coming at you. It's Joe Smith putting his life on the line for the IRS, putting his butt on the line, affirming, swearing under penalty of perjury that you did something, or an FBI agent coming, or an OSHA deal, not an entity. You're swearing, you're putting your butt on the line. I want Joe Smith to put his butt on the line too, not some ABCDFG entity. Okay, so we go down here a little further. As a maxim, you swore to never attack the people's rights. Therefore, the people know and realize that your statutes are not for us, against the people in the private of their associations. Private and public. Be private. Understand the difference between those two. Okay, more maxims there. We're running a little over, so I want to get down to the bottom here. Okay, to the very end. Okay. Other thing here, I called them. Not only are we sending notice about our rights, but we're also putting in there, nowhere in the Pennsylvania Constitution was the legislature granted any authority to create a statutory program for financial gain, concurrently depriving the people's right to defend life, liberty, and property. So not only are they suppressing you and forcing you to get a statutory carry permit, but they're also charging you. Even though it's a minimal fee, it's still the point. The sheriff they're making money. The sheriff's department are making money off of that. So I call it, see evidence below, PA Title 18, subsection 6109H, licenses and fees. I'm not going to dig that up right now. You guys can go look at that. Don't believe me, go look this stuff up. And that's exactly where you'll find where they're charging you and all the other shenanigans. Okay, now, this is something else I put in here that's very important near the end. Please take notice that it is my wish, order, and demand that all trustees, servants, agents, and bar members, I'm letting them know that these attorneys that are in front of these public servants are putting pressure on them and guiding them and telling them what to do. We're going to move them out of the way. That all trustees, servants, agents, and bar members are to immediately stop blocking and interfering in the people's inherent rights, including denying any of the people of their guaranteed right to bear arms according to their own condition without the interference of unlawful regulation. As one of the people, I am willing to allow you to trample my rights for $500,000 per occurrence due immediately upon any infringement of my rights. That's a heck of a price tag. Okay? Any further attempts to infringe upon my rights will be considered as done with full knowledge, intent, and malice. Furthermore, if you believe any of the above claims are untrue or that you have the authority to infringe upon the guaranteed rights of the people, please provide the constitutional authority that grants you such powers and privileges. Any man or woman who decides to suppress this notice agrees to pay $100,000 per infraction, and any disputes by any public officials or private actors who are bound by contract to the Pennsylvania Constitution, right? Agrees to have these matters heard before an arbitrator of my choice and to be bound thereby. All responses must be submitted by affidavit. They've got to swear. They're not going to throw some statute. Well, the statute, subsection 6401, says that you have to abide by this. They have to come back and swear. A statute, we throw that out of the way. Sworn under penalty of perjury. Within 5 days, you have to give them a time limit along with a price tag of receiving this notice, or you agree by acquiescence. They always acquiesce. All statements in this notice to be true in fact. Further, you agree that you are acting with full intent, knowledge, and malice by trespassing against the people, and that no court shall be able to rehear this matter, but it shall stand as evidence. We've created evidence. Truth and law in all courts of record. We should only be in courts of record. Nobody here has ever been in a court of record. We've all been in magistrate, either a jury trial, etc. We've never had the setting that I'm showing you. And at the end, this notice is sent to you in the peace and with the love of Christ, so that you may provide due care to those who have all political power, us, the people. So that is the notice. And then the one more thing, you guys find out if you're looking to, you're trying to find who to send it to, you go to this, which is your, if you're in Pennsylvania, go to the General Assembly, find your legislature page, and then you can scroll down and see what section you're in, where you live, and who your legislatures are, because you want to address them. They are so critical because they're the ones that are creating this law. So they have to be notified. That is paramount that you do that. So that's there. If you're in Florida, if you're in another state, go look where your legislatures are in your specific area, your section, and use those and find their addresses when you send these out. And then the last thing is, before we go, the last deal here is how you send it. Okay, 8.5 by 14 legal size paper. Don't use the 8 by 11. Okay, and it's got to go certified mail. Jamie and some other people here have done these, so they have experience with this. But you send them certified mail, that which is a lawful form of delivery. Green card return receipt with a signature. Okay, you want to get the signature. Sometimes the green cards don't come back. That's when you go online and you look up your tracking number and you ask them to send you a copy of it. They'll send you a photocopy of the signature saying that they received your notice in the mail. It's on legal size envelope, and the pages are numbered. Like example, page 1, 2, 3, 4. Number the pages, but do not staple the pages or fold the pages. So you're going to put them in the legal size paper in the legal size envelope. And then you'll sign with blue ink. It's official. Don't do red, don't do black. Blue ink. That's another very important part of this mailing. So with that being said, I went a little over. I'm going to see if anyone has any questions, but I can help anybody that wants to get this notice put together. Just let me know, and we can help you. If you're in a different state, I can help you get it together just using this as a template. And then, you guys can all mail this out according to, your time frame. But I would do it. Even if you do have a carrying permit, it doesn't hurt to do this. Send this out and have this documented. And when you send it, you give them copies. Okay, you keep the original for yourself. All right. And there is a place on here that I did not show you yet, but you'll sign it as well. You put your signature on there, your autograph on there, and then you'll sign it and date it, and then it's official. Okay. There's another part where you do there's notices and affidavits. You send affidavits when your rights have already been trampled. So when they're already coming at you, you send sworn affidavit. If they're not coming at you, you send notice. So we're just starting a conversation with them by sending the notice, which they don't respond to your conversation. But if you have an issue already, then you have to get sworn affidavit as your evidence to submit if you are to go to court. Okay, let me see. I got one in the chat. Yes, Jamie, it will be available to you. You can get the recording of this, what we did today, but also I will be able to send you a template of this notice, and then you can put edit how you need to see fit. Okay, so that's cool. Let me clear out the screens here. Stop share. Bring everybody back. Danny, it was so good to have you here, buddy. I'm so happy you came. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we went over? We did it pretty fast, but it was just a little workshop to make you aware of a notice. And I want your minds to think that this notice can pertain to other things you have. Okay, other issues, other things that you have experienced in your life. You can send notice to your government officials with any issues that you have.